Hey everyone, Felipe here. Welcome to another Tower of Saviors GNN review video. Sorry I haven't been posting much. I've been a little bit busy, but I'm trying to get back into the rhythm of posting these weekly reviews. A little bit busy with the new year, Chinese New Year, and things like that, but getting back into schedule. And this week we are going to be reviewing the new collaboration, which is going to be the Attack on Titan collaboration. And the drawing machine will be Dedicate Your Heart, or how the Survey Corps will say it, Shinzo Sasageyo. You know? So without further ado, let's get started with this week's GNN review. So the meat and potatoes of this review will be the new crossover event, which is going to feature the new Attack on Titan series. Yeah, Ultimate Lord, Reiner, Brawn, and Armored Titan, Warriors of Freedom, Diamond Sealed character series, which will be the Attack on Titan series. Bam! On January 30th, which already dropped, we will have the new crossover, which is the Attack on Titan crossover. But yeah, we do have um, a couple um, characters, which will be, for starters, we'll be introducing the skills of the rare characters Eren Yeager, Lieutenant Levy, Mikasa Ackerman, and Armin Arlet, which, as you may know, because the seal already dropped, there are four rare characters this time around, which is, in my opinion, a little bit rude, or I don't know, not great, because normally we only have three rare characters, one jackpot card, and two small jackpots. But this time we do have four jackpot cards, one which you get guaranteed at 35, and the second one that you get guaranteed at 40. But other than that, it just feels like you have to spend more diamonds for the rare cards. So I have thoughts about it. I think, I don't know, mixed feelings, honestly, because 40 draws is technically a black gold card, but you are getting two guaranteed jackpot cards, one at 35 and one at 40. So technically, it also balances out a little bit, but it all comes down to the skills of these cards, which I actually haven't seen yet. I did pull for the characters, but I haven't been playing them yet, so I don't really know what they do right now. Armin Outlet will have more skills to be revealed later in the crossover event period. Okay, Titan and Scout Regiment members, which is going to be the new attribute or trait for this series. Let's see. Levi is an Armin as Scout Regiment. All the other characters as Armored Titan and Leonhard will share the trait of Titans. Different skills can be triggered when there are different trait members in the team. So that's pretty standard. Whenever a new seal gets introduced, there's a new trait, and there is a team skill that benefits that certain trait. So, yeah, without further ado, now let's get started with the thing that I'm actually really interested, which is going to be the leader skills and active skills of these new characters. Starting with Eren Yeager, which is going to be a fire human with the following leader skill. Fire members and humans will have an attack of times 9, HP, and recovery times 2. When the team has 3 or more Scout Regiment members, team attack times 2 additionally. Regiment members launches an extra attack as much as 50% of its own attack. By dissolving 3 or more groups of runestones, team attack increases times 2 additionally. So honestly, this is a pretty good leader skill with a lot of multiplier and some extra attack. But the main thing about this leader skill that it is that it focuses on attack multipliers and damage output. You get a times 9 base, which is pretty good in the current meta, an additional times 2, and an additional other times 2 for a base of um, 36 times 36 for a single leader, which is pretty respectable. And you also get an extra attack as much as 50% of your own attack for each of your Scout Regiment members, which, if you're running a mono Scout Regiment members, will amount to a pretty significant additional damage. But yeah, now let's take a look at his team skill, which honestly is the main part of jackpot cards nowadays. So when the leader is Eren Yeager and the ally is a Scout Regiment member, burning will be nullified, crack positions will not be generated, Runestone movement time will increase by 5 seconds regardlessly, and after dissolving runestones, all runestones to be dropped in the first batch will be adjacent according to their types. All runestones also possess the effect of runestones of Scout Regiment and Titan members attribute, and according to the number of combos made in the first batch in the round, combo count increases in the next round. When 7 or more combos are made, team attack increases by 5 times, and damage will be dealt regardless of trio and quintet elemental shield, as well as equal combo shield. Otherwise, damage received minus 30%. Upon receiving damage from an enemy attack each time, skill CD of Eren Yeager minus 2 and skill EP of Attack Titan increases plus 2. Um, there are more team skills here where there are Eren Yeager or Attack Titan, Mikasa, and Armin in the team. So all three of them have to be in the team. Eren Yeager, Attack Titan, Mikasa, and Armin will have their HP and attack basic value increased by 1.8 times, and their skill cooldowns will be decreased by 3 after entering the stage. Additionally, when there are 3 or more Titan members in the team, if the first runestone movement starts with the character runestones of a Titan, clear the negative state of condensed runes touched while moving. So let's unpack all of this. This team skill is actually really good. And honestly, it's not that bad because not only do you get a lot of utility from ignoring burning, ignoring cracked, and also giving you a pretty much guaranteed sky drop because all runestones of the same type will be dropped adjacent to each other, which means that you will get a lot of sky drop combos. And not only that, you also get an additional times 5 team attack bonus for clearing 7 combos or more, which is not that hard to do because your combos in this round will be added to the next round, and the combos on the next round will be added to the next round. So as long as you do 3 combos in the first round or 4 combos in the first round, you will be able to get an easy 7 combo every round because they will keep adding to each other. And that means that the team attack of times 5 will be pretty easy to hit, and you will also ignore trio, quintet, and equal combo shield. And this combo increase reminds me of Chinque, so that was pretty useful to increase your combo throughout rounds. Not only that, you also get the ability to reduce the damage taken by 30% if you decide to just empty spin or do one combo instead. And true to the anime where Eren hurts himself to reach like a higher attack power, when you receive damage from an enemy, your skill cooldowns will decrease and your EP will increase, which honestly is a small detail that I really enjoy, and that is pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I do think this team skill is pretty good. Um, and the fact that you don't need to run dual Eren Yeager means that you have the flexibility of running other Scout Regiment members, but not sure how good that is until we see the team skills and leader skills of the other characters. But overall, I do think Eren is going to be a pretty good leader. He has pretty good multipliers in his leader skill with an additional times 5 multiplier on his team skill, as well as a lot of utility built in passively, which will allow you to defeat some of the stages pretty easily or get around enemy skills without having to rely on your active skills. But yeah, so I do think he's a pretty good leader. Uh, and now let's take a look at his active skill. This is a CD7 active skill where you can release the locked skills of Scout Regiment, Titans, and Fire members, and the skill will not be locked. For one round, the character's attack increases by times 5, and damage will be dealt regardless of defense, as well as stunning the enemies after attacking them to inactivate them for one round. Honestly, that is a pretty good active skill because it is a fire member unlock. You can also unlock your traits, so Scout Regiment and Titans, which makes it really good because he is going to be a pretty good leader for Scout Regiment and for Titans as well. But even Talking about the future proofing, you can run him in a mono fire team to unlock the skills of your fire members. And not only that, you can also stun the enemies and increase your attack by 5 times. So honestly, a pretty good active skill. CD7, a little bit slow, but for everything that it does, I think it is very worth. As a it has a lot of worth as an active skill. Next, we have the switching skill, which from the beginning, CD6 already stands out to me because typically switching skills are CD8. So this is going to be a faster switch, which means that you will be able to access his alternate form faster than other switching characters. But yeah, this skill can only be activated when the current HP is less than 50% or more than 30 runestones. 35 runestones are resolved cumulatively. Turn all runestones into fire and fully recover HP. And this is actually also very reminiscent of the anime where Eren has to hurt himself to transform. So your HP has to be than 50%. Or you have had to dissolve a lot of fire runes cumulatively in order to switch. But honestly, in 6 rounds, that is pretty easy to do. Um, the runestone requirement. HP, that is going to be a little bit more situational, and unless you have a active skill that can reduce your HP by 51%, you might be playing with fire trying to get hit by enemies and things like that because you might accidentally get yourself killed. But yeah, so switching. So now let's take a look at his. Oh, never mind. We do have some bonding skills, which nice bonuses to have, but not really super broken. Combo count plus one, good, but it's just one combo. And skill CD minus one that may come into play more often because you can just spam it and decrease your CDs by one. But yeah, so now we have the alternate form, which is going to be the Attack Titan. So this is the alternate form of Eren Yeager, and now we have a different leader skill. Fire members and humans attack times 10 instead of 9. And well, basically it is the same uh, leader skill. The only thing that changes here is that you get an attack times 10 and a team attacks of 2.2 additionally. Other than that, everything stays the same, which means that it's actually kind of disappointing because you would expect that after you switch, you would get a little bit more of a broken or improved leader skill, not just multipliers. But now let's take a look at the team skill. Fully, something changed here. Same condition. Burning will be nullified, Ruslan will be cracked. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. And the only thing that changes is the minus 40%. So damage received minus 40% instead of 30%. Is that all? Mm, everything in the team skill stays the same. Even the passive also stays the same. Although you do acquire a new team skill related to the different titans, so attack titan, jaw titan, warhammer titan, etc. But that is also going to be a stat boost. Um, but yeah, hardened mode. Uh, yeah, okay. That is kind of disappointing because yeah, when you're switching a character, typically you want them to get a power boost. And here's the thing: when Eren transforms to the Titan, he becomes like really, really powerful, right? I don't see any of that power in this card. It's basically Eren with a little bit more multipliers. Even the team skill stays the same. For something called Attack Titan, I would expect something more in his team skill. But yeah, that is kind of disappointing. I mean, you would still switch because you get higher multipliers, but other than that, I don't see any other gimmicks to make it, fun. But yeah, so let's take a look at his active skill. EP7, same thing. Release their lock skills of Scout Regiment Titans and Fire members. Character attack increases times 6 instead of times 5, but everything else stays the same. Now, for the EP2 skill, which is typically the most broken skill of every switching characters, um, and it's what makes them special. Let's see, CD6. CD6? You mean EP6? Maybe, hopefully it's EP6. Attack Titan Harden enters Harden mode. Restore all runestones to normal state. Damage received will be lowered to 0, applicable to, boss skills, bloody sight, etc. And if the leader is a scout regiment or a titan member, damage received from scorching areas minus 80%. That is not a bad active skill. Being able to dodge or reduce all damage taken to 0 for 1 round is pretty good, as well as restoring all runestones to normal state is also pretty good. But for a jackpot card, it is a little bit disappointing. Um, yeah, you can ignore scorching areas, but not fully. You do reduce your damage to 0 and restore rosters to normal state. But that's a lot of utility, but not something that you would pull so many diamonds to obtain with the jackpot card. But yeah, same bonding skill. So honestly, a little bit disappointing that the attack titan form is not that much of an improvement. But yeah, so I'll circle back and give more thoughts about it when we reach the end of the video. But next we are going to keep moving on to the next jackpot card, which is going to be Lieutenant Levi, which is a dark human and has the following leader skill. Dark members and human members have an attack increase of 8 times and HP and recovery increased by 1.5 times. Gal Regiment members get an additional 1.5 HP boost and a 2 times attack boost. And the character's own attack also increases by 2 times additionally, and damage will be dealt regardless of defense. By dissolving fire or dark runes additionally, team attacks times 4 additionally. So same thing here with Levi. His leader skill is very oriented to just multiplier on multiplier. There is a regardless of defense, which is pretty fitting since he is one of the best attackers in the anime. But other than that, his leader skill is very based on multipliers. Granted, his multipliers are all very easy to hit. Some of them are unconditional. Just by having Scout Regiment members, they get a times 2 attack bonus. He himself gets an additional times 2 attack bonus. And dissolving fire or dark runes, not first batch, is also very easy to do for that easy times 4 attack multiplier. But yeah, now let's move on to his team skill. When the leader is Lieutenant Levi and the ally is a Scout Regiment member, extend runestone movement time by 3 seconds. All attribute runestones possess 200% the effect of dark runes. Dark runestones also possess 50% effect of heart runes. Runestone movement will not be stopped when you touch a tornado or electrified runes. Scout Regiment members will have their damage uh, dealt regardless of fixed combo shield. For each dark rune dissolved, combo count increases +1 to the max of +10. If only one type of runes is dissolved in the first batch, combo count +10 as well. When 8 combos are made, team attack times 2.5. On entering the last wave, Lieutenant Levi enters a hyperstate for 4 rounds. When there is Levi in the team at the beginning of each time the summoner enters the next wave, Lieutenant Levi gets an additional attack basic value of +500 to the max of 4000. And if there is only Lieutenant Levi in the team, leader and ally, HP and recovery basic value increases by 2.5, attack times 3.5, Lieutenant Levi, skill CD -3 after intended stage, skill CD -1 permanently. Damage will be dealt regardless of initial shield. Will never enter a fatigue state when the runestone character runestone is triggered, and damage can be dealt regardless of enemy's specific damage reducing resistance. Additionally, if there is a Levi and Hanji Zoe or Erwin Smith in the team, their HP, attack, and recovery will increase by 1.5 times. Wow, so that is a lot of team skill that we need to unpack. Basically, there is a mono Levi team set up for it, um, where your leader and ally would get a lot of HP and recovery, as well as more attack, as well as more utility breaking initial shield. You also won't enter a fatigue state if you pull a character roost, and you will deal um, damage regardless of specific damage reducing resistance, which is honestly really good. However, you have to give up 4 team slots for it, and just running a mono Levi team might not necessarily be that great unless his active skill is broken, which I haven't seen yet. Um, Other than that, I think his team skill is really good as well. He does focus a little bit more on the dark rune route, where you want to run a mono dark team because of your runestone possession effect being 200% dark runes. However, um, actually, yeah, even if you run a scout regiment team, you only get runestone possession effect for dark runes. So running a rainbow scout regiment team might not be that great. You might just want to run a mono dark scout regiment team with him. Other than that, I do think his team skill is pretty good with a lot of utility and a lot of extra multiplier. Tornado, Electrifying Rune, Nullifying is pretty good. Fixed Combo Shield is also really good. Combo increase to plus 10 for each Dark Rune dissolve is also very easy to hit and very good as well. And if you only dissolve one type of rune in the first batch, you also get a plus 10 combo count, which honestly, if you're good at stacking, it is going to be very beneficial because you might be able to get a free plus 20 combo if you dissolve 10 dark runes by themselves in the first batch. When 8 combos are made, you also get an additional 2.5 attack bonus, and you also get a hyper state for Levi when you enter the last wave, which is pretty good, a pretty nice detail since, again, in the anime, he's one of the best attackers. Um, so really good things here. But yeah, plus 1, plus 10. Yeah. Honestly, if you're good at stacking, this team skill is going to be super good with a lot of combo and a lot of multiplier as well. He also gets stronger as the battle goes. Every time you enter a new wave, his attack basic value increases by 500, and for to the max of 4,000, which is an 8 wave round. And you pair it up with his team skill. Once you reach the last wave, get a hyper state, which is going to further increase your attack as well. So this is going to be a really good thing for Levi. So overall, I do think he is a pretty good leader with pretty good leader skills, good multiplier, and also good utility built into his team skill. Next, we have his active skill, which is a CD7 active skill and a super big paragraph with tiny letters. So let's unpack this one by one. Turn all runestones into fixed numbers and fixed positions of enchanted water, fire, earth, light, and dark. If the leader is Lieutenant Levi, remove all runestones to generate those um, that fixed board, which is good. Instead of a conversion, it is a removal, which will allow you to get rid of a lot of board debuffs. For 2 rounds, the character's attack increases by 4 times, launches 4 extra attacks, as much as 50% of its own attack. Damage received from enemies' counter attack will be reduced by 100%. Character's damage will be dealt regardless of puzzle shield and equal combo shield. And if an enemy is defeated at the end of the round, Turn all runestones into water, enchanted water, fire, earth, light, and dark. Runestones of fixed numbers and fixed positions. This is actually a pretty good active skill. Um, this is a pretty good active skill because it gives you a lot of utility. From the conversion, you get attacking runes of fixed positions and fixed numbers, and also a fixed board, which will make it really easy to spin in cases where you have to deal with sticky trail or number shields, things like that. Fixed boards make it really good for you to make it easy. You get an additional extra attacks as well as extra multipliers. But most important of all, I think the main part of this active skill is going to be the ignoring counter attack. That is going to be really powerful because it completely ignores the counter attack and it will allow you to live in situations that may normally kill you. You also get utility, breaking puzzle shield and breaking equal combo shield, which are two of the more annoying enemy skills, enemy shields, so being able to break those is also really good. So in my opinion, this active skill is absolutely insane, definitely a pretty good active skill. So yeah, I do think Lieutenant Levi is a pretty good card overall with a good leader skill and a good active skill as well. You also get some bonding skills, but same thing. But next we have Mikasa Ackerman, which is another jackpot card, albeit a smaller jackpot. And her leader skill is going to be water members and human members attack times 6, HP and recovery times 1.8, Scout regiment members times 2 team attack. By dissolving water, fire, or light, team attack increases by 3 times additionally. If there is Eren Yeager or Attack Titan in the team, the character's attack times 3 additionally, and damage will be dealt regardless of anti-Russo shield first patch. That's a very cute detail, since Mikasa is Eren's childhood friend and is always there to support him. If he is in the team, she gets an additional attack boost. But honestly, I do think her multipliers are a little bit on the lower end. Actually, not really. Times 6 is very low in the current meta as a base attack multiplier, but she does make up for it with the times 2 and times 3 from her um, other leader skill multipliers, which will give her a times 30, and for herself an additional times 3 if you have Eren Yeager in the team. So again, this leader skill is very focused on the multiplier aspect of the leader skill, which honestly, given that you only have to run a leader and your ally can be any Scout Regiment member, having only multipliers on your leader skill might not be the worst, but honestly, having some utility in it would also be really good as well. But yeah, let's look at her team skill. If the leader is Mikasa and the ally is a Scout Regiment member, Runestone movement time increases by 3 seconds additionally, Sticky is nullified, Laser Trap is also nullified, Water, Fire, and Light runestones possess 50% of each other, Water runestones possess 50% of Heart runes, and after dissolving runestones, according to the type of runestones used to start the movement, um, enchanted runestones of that type will be generated in the column below Mikasa in the first patch. If the runestone movement starts with a character rune, turn the heart runes touched while moving into enchanted human runes of that character's attribute. When 4 or more combos are made, team attack times 4, Scout Regiment members also have an additional times 2 attack bonus, and damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield. Honestly, not a bad team skill, but I feel like it's a little bit lacking. You do get Sticky nullified, Laser Trap nullified, you do have some good runestone position effects, some good sky drop from guaranteed sky drop, and also converting away heart runes if you use character runes. Um, but yeah, other than that, you have a fixed shield break, but then everything else is just multiplier on multiplier, which Not sure. Her playstyle seems also kind of bland compared to the others. Um, which I mean, it's good that she's not the 1% jackpot, but it's also a little bit sad that as a jackpot card, her skills are not that great. Like she's usable for sure, but I don't think she is that great as a leader person. But yeah, for her active skill, we have a CD6 skill. The character has their attack increased by 1.5 times, and damage will be dealt regardless of initial shield. Turns Runestone touch while moving into enchanted runes, and by dissolving attributed runestones, the character launches an extra attack of each attribute dissolved. By dissolving water or heart runes or fire runes in the first batch, combo count increases by 5, and this skill stays in play until deactivation or defeated. Huh, huh. Oh, nice. This skill can be deactivated anytime, and then upon the activation of the skill, modify water, fire, and light runes to become human runestones. If there are two or more Scout Regiment members in the team, modify all runestones to become human runestones. This skill is absolutely insane, and the only reason it's insane is because it's a continuous buff. And that can be deactivated at any time. That gives you a lot of flexibility during the stage to activate and deactivate this skill. And honestly, the benefits of it are also really good. You can break initial shield with an increased self attack boost, which will hopefully guarantee the kill on those pesky initial shield enemies. You also generate a lot of enchanted runes and launch an extra attack of each attribute dissolved, similar to Andromeda, which is a lot of fireworks and really fun. You can also get more combo counts if you dissolve fire or water runes in the first batch, which is honestly not a hard condition at all. So definitely a good thing to just increase your damage continuously. And at CD6, that is a very short uh, continuous effect boost. And not only that, you do get a skill CD reduction after entering the stage if you fulfill the conditions on your team skill. You can also deactivate the skill at any time to modify rune stones to become human runes, which honestly it's not the best deactivation effect, but the fact that you can deactivate it at any time is already pretty good. But yeah, I think her active skill is absolutely insane. I think it is going to be a pretty good future-proofed effect as well, similar to Kurapika, where we still use Kurapika from the first Hunter x Hunter collaboration as a light member, just because of his continuous effect being so powerful. And this one, I do think it is a little bit less powerful, but I do think it might come into play in future mono water teams or human teams. But yeah, so Mikasa pretty good. And then Armin Arlet, which they did say they will be releasing other things for him later, uh, back in the beginning of the GNN, which um, I know why, but if you have not watched Attack on Titan, I will not spoil it. But let's just say that Armin will have a potential power up during this event, this crossover event. But yeah, to begin with, we have his leader skill. He is a light human, so his active skill, his leader skill is actually kind of trash. Attack times 5, HP and recovery times 2, encouragement members times 2.5, and by dissolving light runes, team attack times 5 times additionally. Hmm, honestly, in terms of multiplier, it's not bad. It's just very simple. So honestly, yeah, it's very simple. So let's move on to his team skill. Um, yeah, if the leader is Armin Artlet, The Alliance Scout Regiment member extend runestone movement time regardlessly by 4 seconds. Burning is nullified, scorching areas minus 100%. All runestones will also possess the effect of light runes. By dissolving one or more group of 5 or more runestones, team attack increases by 5 times and damage will be dealt regardless of puzzle shield. By dissolving one or more group of 5 runestones in the first batch, skill CD of Armin minus 1, and at the end of each round explode the bottom row and turn it into light runes. Huh. Actually, this is pretty good team skill. Despite his simple leader skill, his team skill is also very good in terms of utility. You ignore burning, you ignore scorching areas, which minus 100% is way better than 80% from Aaron's active skill. So the fact that he has it inbuilt makes me wonder if he's going to be a situational good leader when you have to deal with scorching areas. You also have an additional times 5 team attack and puzzle shield ignore if you dissolve a group of more than 5 runestones, which is going to be super easy given that at the end of each round he generates 6 light runes in a row just for you. Yeah. So as a leader, I think he is very simple. He is going to be very usable, but not super broken like a 1% jackpot card since he doesn't have that much utility or such a gimmicky or fun playstyle. He's going to be a pretty basic leader in my opinion. So moving on to his active skill, CD6 active skill, restore all cracked positions, explode weather runestones, team attack times 1.5, scout regiment members attack times 1.5 additionally. Each member launches an extra light attack as much as 50% of its attack, and effects 3 to 5 will stay in play within the wave. Honestly, that is a pretty good active skill. Being able to boost your entire team, no, yeah, team by 1.5 times, with Scout Regiment members getting an additional 1.5 during the wave is going to be very powerful because this means that even if you don't kill the enemy, you will power up. Um, you will still retain this buff and be able to kill it faster or in another round, a second round or third round, since you have that continuous buff. Um, More importantly, I think for this skill, it is going to be a CD6 crack restorer as well as a weather runestone counter, both which are pretty good and honestly a pretty good active skill in my opinion. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's a very basic active skill. You can replace him very easily, so I don't think it's a must get active skill. Okay, moving on, we have Hanji, which is going to be a non-jackpot card, so no leader skill to talk about here. We have a CD8 active skill. She is a dark human and has the following effect. Clear all additional effects in play, and for one round, burning will be nullified. Tap by tapping runestone of the magic circle of element 2 times. Runestones of the first type will be dissolved singly or in groups of 2 or more, and with the second type tapped, each Scout Regiment member will launch an extra attack of that type. If the Heart Rune is tapped, each Scout Regiment will launch an extra non-attributive attack. So Honji is a CD8 effect clearer, which is a little bit on the longer side, honestly not very useful since you might need to clear your effects fast, so having a shorter cooldown on effect clearing is very desirable. Uh, Burning will be nullified, that's nice, but all the leaders that we've seen ignore burning, or Aaron ignores burning. I think Levi, does Levi ignore burning? Levi does not ignore burning, so that's good for him. But ignoring burning on a CD8 skill, I mean, it's nice, but given that the cooldown is so long, you might have to wait for when you actually need to use it. But I do think dissolving runestones singly, having the choice to dissolve whatever rune you want singly, is really powerful. So kind of makes up for the fact that it has a long cooldown, but I still think it is a very long cooldown. You also get the flexibility of choosing what attribute of an extra attack you want to launch. So, that's also very good as well. It's just that this cooldown is so long at CD8 that, I mean, I'm gonna use her because she will trigger the Scout Regiment team skill, but I do think her cooldown is very long. Next, we have Sasha Blouse, Potato Girl, uh, Earth Human with a CD6 skill, for 1 round upon skill activation, and at the end of each round, fully recover HP. Sticky will be nullified, dodge the first attack of each non-human enemy, and if the leader is a Scout Regiment member, dodge the first attack of each enemy. After dodging an attack, all members will enter or stay in hyperstate for 2 rounds. Honestly, this is a pretty good active skill. CD6 attack dodging is very good. Granted, when she is not that future proof because her skill truly shines when you're running a scout regiment leader, which as the meta progresses, they will definitely fall off the meta, so you will be dealing with effect 3 by itself at that point, which still good, but it will become situational because your enemies might be a human, so it is situational because of that. But if you think about it, human race is only one out of 7 or 8 races, so chances are that if you are facing an enemy, there is a higher probability that they are non-human, which means that the effect 3 will still be kind of useful even if you're not running a scout regiment team. So, which means that Sasha Blouse will probably be useful in different teams and a little bit future proof, especially because of her attack dodging for other teams. So, in my opinion, I think this card is pretty good. And if you're pulling for the jackpot cards, anyways, there's a very high chance that you will get her because she is one of the non jackpot cards, and chances are that you will at least get one copy. So, yeah, next we have Historia Race, which is a light human card with a CD6 skill and has the following effect. For 2 rounds, damage received from step damage will be lowered to 0. Turn the first runestones touched, moved while into enchanted light human runes. The character's attack increases by 4 times and damage will be dealt regardless of quintet and initial shield. Quintet initial shield. Well, I'm guessing that is just quintet initial shield, which are still 2 shields that are very good to ignore. Honestly, just by the first effect alone, I think this card is worth getting because there are not that many cards that can help you ignore step damage. And even though step damage is situational, it is very, very annoying. So being able to ignore it is definitely really good. And at CD6, this is a pretty good active skill to have. And because you also have a self attack boost and couple shield ignores, this bundles up a lot of utility and definitely becomes a good card to have just in case. And also, it does not limit you to have only Scout members, Scout Brigade, was it? Scout Regiment members. So, which means that even in the future, you might have a use for this card, even if you're running a mono human or a mono light team, because there is no restriction for her skill. So, definitely a good card to get, in my opinion. Next, we have Jean Kirsten, which is a fire human card with a CD6 skill and has the following effect. Scout Regiment members will have their skill cooldowns reduced by 1 and their EP increased by 1. 1 reactivation each wave, which means you won't be able to spam it, so which is okay. But turn all runestones into enchanted water, fire, light, dark, earth, and heart of fixed numbers. If the leader is a scout regiment member, this conversion will be fixed numbers and fixed positions. So honestly, I think this card will be a specifically a support card for scout regiment teams. If you're not planning on pulling for the jackpot cards, or if you're not planning on running a scout regiment team, I think this card will pretty much be a little bit useless. because all it does is reduce your cooldowns for your Scout Regiment members and also give you an easier board to spin. However, at CD6, I think this utility is a little bit slow, and there are better cards in the game that are at CD6 that will give you a board convert and more utility as well. So, honestly, skill cooldown EP increase can save you situationally when you need just one extra round to activate your skills. However, 9 out of 10 times I feel it is better to bring another card with more utility to help you clear more difficult enemies instead of relying on one card to reduce your cooldowns. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on Jane Kirsten. Not that great, but honestly, if you're planning on running a Scout Regiment team, uh, he might be good to fill up on the Scout Regiment trait or a Mono Scout Regiment team. But we have a time limited event which is Defend the Walls. Summoners can go to the event webpage and do the Defend the Walls effect, which will give you Wings of Freedom. And if you use specific crossover characters, you will get more Wings of Freedom. And I'm guessing you are able to exchange these Wings of Freedom for different materials. Oh, you can exchange it for exclusive Dragon Wires, which, wow, okay. This is actually a really good Dragon Wire because it gives you 1 extra second of movement time as well as a round of skill cooldown reduction as well as 1.5 attack bonus after you activate your active skill. So that is really good. As well as the craft skill is also pretty decent. 20% attack increase is pretty high for random humans on -2 cooldown, but most importantly, delay the enemies for 1 round. This is an amazing Dragon craft and definitely useful if you're running a Scout Regiment team with a Scout Regiment leader. And honestly, I like this, the fact that they all share one single Dragonware as opposed to each character having their own specific Dragonware. I think this is better because it gives you more flexibility. You also don't have to farm that many. Um, so I think this is a good change. So definitely go and get your Dragonwares because these are very good Dragonwares if you're planning on running a Scout Regiment team. You can also get a special character, Erwin Smith, using Wings of Freedom, and he has a CD6 active skill. He's a dark human, so definitely goes along with Lieutenant Levi. Since Lieutenant Levi does want to have dark human cards or dark Scout Regiment members, such as Hanji and Erwin, and he also has the team skill with them. But yeah, for his CD6 active skill, he can clear the hypnotized state of Scout Regiment members and change the members from fatigue into hyperstate. Scout Regiment members will also enter a hyperstate for 2 rounds, and if the leader is a Scout Regiment member, which specifically you would be if you want to run this card, your combo count increases by 10. So honestly, this card is again a Scout Regiment support card for sure, and definitely a card worth getting because there's not that many cards that can clear Hypnotized state. And Hypnotized is one of the more annoying ones in my opinion. And so being able to have a archetype specific hypnotizing clear is a good thing. So definitely good to get this card, and in my opinion, definitely worth if you're planning on playing a Lieutenant Levi card. However, other than Scout Regiment teams, this card is pretty useless because you can notice that all his skills have Scout Regiment as a condition or as an effect range, you know? So if you're not planning on running a Scout Regiment team, then you don't really have to worry about getting this card. We also have a new minigame, which is the Titan Extermination Project, uh, which is basically a rerun of one of the past Madhead minigames, I feel. Um, I did play this one before reading the GNN news, but it's basically one of those tap the attribute to get rid of the incoming zombies, or in this case, titans. But we did have this minigame before. It's just a rerun with a different skin. It's a pretty fun minigame, and I think will you will also get reward for reaching certain scores. But yeah, no, I think it's a really fun minigame. So go ahead and play it. It's pretty fun. We also have an ultimate stage, which is going to be the wall breaching strength, which will feature Reiner Braun and the Armored Titan, which will open on January 31st. So it's already live, and he is going to be a light human card with a CD7 skill. Reiner Braun and Armored Titan will enter the Hardened mode, which is the special Titan mode. And for one round, damage received minus 70%, team attack increases by 2 times, and in the next round, damage received will be lowered to 0, and team attack times 3. Honestly, this is a really, really good active skill, and you should definitely get it. Because here's the thing, there's not that many cards that can help you defend across rounds. And if they do, it is definitely a must get in my book because of ambush enemies, or initial shield enemies. The fact that you can activate your skill and still have a defensive option the round afterwards, is definitely really good. For example, if there is an ambush enemy with 100% HP reduction, you have to activate something before you enter that stage. And there's not that many cards that can protect you from that. So this one effect is really powerful even at CD7. So I do recommend getting this card at least one copy, just so that you can access that defensive option just in case in future, um, yeah, in your team or your inventory. You also have a team skill, which is the Titan special, with the hardened mode. Characters, uh, you know, characters that attack times 1.5, damage will be regardless of defense, and hardened mode will end upon summer defeat. But yeah, Reiner Braun also has bonding skills, and yeah, so pretty good ultimate stage card. Definitely go get him if you have the chance. We also have a new challenge mission, which is a Searing Hot Steam, which will feature Colossus Titan Berthold. But yeah, he is going to be a fire human, CD8, with the following skill. Add 3 rows of runestones, extend runestone movement time to 15 seconds. For one round, after dissolving runestones, the first batch of runestones to be dropped will be fire runes. By dissolving 30 or more fire runes, Titan members damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield and puzzle shield. And I think this skill is going to be absolutely amazing. Adding 3 rows of runestones is super powerful. Um, just look at Chaos at the protagonist. Being able to add 3 rows will save you from a lot of enemy skills, specifically the enclosed areas, because these 3 runes will not be affected by the enclosed areas, which means that you have free reign on what happens there. Scatter can still occur, things like that. Full burn boards will not cover the 3 extra rows. Full sticky board does not cover the 3 extra rows. So adding 3 rows of runestones is really powerful. And I also like the detail that because this is the Colossus Titan, he is very big. He towers above the wall, which makes sense if you're adding 3 more rows of height to your board for spinning. So honestly, very nice detail, really powerful skill. Not only that, he is going to be an amazing member for Eren Yeager because Eren Yeager's switching skill has a requirement of 30 fire runes, and this one will give you a full batch of fire runes in the first batch. So definitely will help you towards that switching condition. Not well, maybe not because this skill is CD8 and Aaron's switch is CD6, but even then, if you haven't successfully achieved Aaron's condition for switching yet, you can always count on the Colossus Titan to help you achieve this round. But yeah, because Eren Yeager will also have the Titan trait, this card will definitely be a good addition to an Eren Yeager team. And if you're planning on playing that card, that leader, this card is a must get in my opinion. But yeah, also team skill. Um, yeah, we have already covered that. That's a nice passive skill. But yeah, cool. And that is going to be all for the Attack on Titan series. And now we're going back to some Madhead originals, which is the Arena Redemption characters, Jumpy Boxer Jim, Light Beast card with a CD6 skill, clear the hypnotized state of Beast members, explode all runes to generate Beast runes of everything except a type that you choose. And after dissolving runestones to be dropped will not be of that type. Dodge all attacks of beast enemies. This is an amazing arena card, especially for a free to play card. I've mentioned before, clearing hypnotized state is very rare nowadays, or because they haven't been released that many. So this card can clear the hypnotized state of all beasts. So running this card in a mono beast team will definitely be useful when you encounter these enemy skills. Not only that, you can also get rid of an entire um, runestone attribute by exploding all runestones, and then the first batch will not include these runestones, which is really powerful. And you can also dodge the attacks of beast enemies, but this is only going to be situational because chances are the enemy that you need to dodge might not be a beast, but when it happens, this card will be really powerful. So, in my opinion, I think this card packs a lot of utility into its own card. Yes, the utility is going to be a little bit situational, but you will not regret having him in your inventory for when the time comes. We also have a new battle pass, which is going to be a reskin of Hell. This is going to be Uncertain Heartbeat Hell, which is now a fire god with a CD6 skill. The character's attack basic value will be lowered to 0. You add the 2.5 times the deducted attack basic value to the attack basic value of other god cards. The effect of heart runes increases by 50%. God members' damage will be dealt regardless of fixed combo shield, and this effect will stay in play until deactivation or defeated. Upon deactivation of the skill, by tapping a runestone on the magic circle of enemy 2 times, turn that type of runestones into enchanted heart god runes. Fire members and god runes will have their skill cooldowns reduced by 1. Honestly, this is a really powerful card for a mono god team. It is an unconditional 2.5 times increase for all your, or not 2.5 times increase, but it is going to increase your god damage output by quite a bit. So it's a definitely a good card to have. CD6 for a continuous effect is really quick and definitely worth getting, especially because we also have skill cooldown crafts that can help you activate this skill faster. So definitely go for this battle pass card and use Harpies to skill her up because you will not regret having a booster for your mono god teams, especially if Madhead decides to release a powerful god team. But yeah, you also have premium rewards if you pay, but I typically don't pay for battle pass since the crafts are not that great, I guess. Actually, this one's pretty okay. Active skill -1, HP times 1.5, skill CDs -3 for 2 random gods, and ignore puzzle shield. Honestly, this craft is pretty good. However, I personally don't like paying for battle pass, so I cannot in good conscience recommend it. But I will say this is a really powerful craft for fire gods. Uh, Especially because Puzzle Shield is the second craft skill, so you don't really have to match all three, but it's always good habits to match all your craft types to be able to activate all three craft skills. But honestly, I do think this is a good craft. We also have the new February challenge. This is not our first rodeo, so level 1 through 10, pretty good things, yada yada yada. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this GNN review. So let me just recap really quickly. We have a new crossover event, which is going to be the Attack on Titan crossover, which is pretty exciting. But some of the characters are going to be a little bit lackluster. Actually, before I do my conclusions or a recap, I just want to mention what I think about the seal. I think this seal is fun for people that enjoy Attack on Titan. Objectively viewing these cards, I think they're powerful and they're good, but they're not super broken. I feel like in terms of leader skills and team skills, all their leader skills are tailored more towards a multiplier only leader skill. All four jackpot cards only had multiplier based leader skills. They do have really fun team skills, but you know, their team skills are also very, very, how would put it, a little bit on the basic side. And specifically for Aaron Yeager, I feel like it's a little bit disappointing because his switching mechanic doesn't really do much. It just transforms it into a Titan, gives you a little bit more multiplier, but he doesn't really typically give you anything else. Meanwhile, a lot of cards, once they switch, they become super powerful. They get a broken second EP skill, they get a lot of utility, bigger upgrade. In this case, there's not that much change, so it's a little bit disappointing. And I think this series is very, honestly, it's very basic in terms of gameplay, not in terms of, basic pack. But this is a very fundamental uh, gameplay. There's no broken mechanics, there's like some sky drop, but overall, I think it's a pretty generic fundamental spinning skill type of seal. I'm also not a fan of having four jackpot cards instead of three, but you know, there might be more value here because you're getting two jackpot cards on 40 pulls instead of one black gold card at 40 pulls, but yeah, uh, should you pull for this seal? Honestly, I feel like in terms of crossover and anime collaboration seals, this one's a little bit on the weaker side, and it does. The good thing is it doesn't really tie you to just running a scout regiment team, since their leader skills though include their element like fire members and humans, water members and humans. But honestly, given all the scout regiment team skills and other additional bonuses, you are heavily incentivized to run a mono scout regiment team. And a mono scout regiment team is not that, it's good right now, but it will fall off the meta. In terms of active skills, there's a couple that are pretty good. Eren Yeager's one, Levi's another one. Armin has a good active skill. Sasha has a good active skill as well. Um, and I think Historia Rice has a really good active skill as well. And Hanji also has a good active skill. So honestly, I do think in terms of leader skills, this seal is usable now, but it will fall off the meta pretty soon. It is not that flexible because of all the team skills and other bonuses that only apply to Scout Regiment teams. Um, so, not that future proof and also not that flexible in terms of team building, since, unless you're willing to give up on the 1.5 or 2 times attack bonus or the, other team skill bonuses. But yeah, I think in my personal opinion, this crossover is a little bit more lackluster than other crossovers that we've had, which is a shame because this is such a big anime, such hype, a little bit sad to see. But if you're a big fan, I definitely recommend getting the cards for the collection sake because they're pretty cool. In my opinion, the artwork is pretty good as well. So, you do you. I think you should decide whether you want to pull for the seal, but I do heavily recommend waiting for the next Black Gold card or the next collaboration because I do feel like this one's a little bit weaker for my tastes. But yeah, so now let's recap this week's GNN. New crossover series with new characters, 4 jackpot cards instead of 3. Aaron is guaranteed at 35, and Levi is guaranteed at 40. Which honestly, it's a little bit that we have to spend more diamonds for the collaboration seal, but it's also nice that we get 2 jackpot cards instead of 1 black gold card at 40 pulls. However, the leader skills are going to be a little bit lackluster. Aaron Yeager's switching skill, in my opinion, is very disappointing. Uh, Levi is fun, but he is tailored for a mono dark team given his rest on possession effect. But he does have a pretty fun playstyle if you run a mono Levi team like a lone wolf, and he also has the self attack increase for each round that you cross, and he will get stronger and stronger for every wave that passes. We also have Mikasa, which is also a fun team to play, and Armin, which we still don't know his full potential, since the GNN does mention that he will get further abilities down during the event. We also have the non-jackpot cards, which Sasha, Hanji, and Historia have good active skills. Meanwhile, Jean is a mono scout regiment team support. So if you are pulling for the jackpot cards, you are definitely getting these non-jackpot cards for sure, because that's how probability works. There is also a time limited event, which is going to give you some rewards by playing um, the event in the game as well as a new mini game. New special characters, which honestly is a really good addition for a Levi team, and a exclusive Dragonware for Scout Regiment members, which in my opinion is really good that they share the same Dragoncraft instead of having to each character having their own exclusive Dragonware. New minigame, new ultimate stage. The ultimate stage card is really good. Uh, so definitely worth getting one card for the defensive skill. And the new challenge stage is also amazing for the 3 extra rows that you add and be as a member for an Eren Yeager team. We also have a new arena card, which honestly definitely get it because he has a really good active skill. And the TOS Battle Pass this time also has a character with a really good active skill as well. That brings me, and then lastly, we have the Premium Battle Pass Dragonware, which honestly is really good. However, I personally don't think it's worth the price for the Premium Battle Pass. But if you really enjoy the Dragoncraft or you've already paid for the Premium Battle Pass, then go for it. And lastly, we have a new monthly challenge since it's now February. And uh, same rodeo, 1 through 10, rewards if you clear each of the levels. But yeah, that's going to bring me to the end of this GNN news. Please let me know in the comments if I said anything wrong or if I missed anything. As always, stay tuned on my YouTube channel for more Tower Saviors content. I will post more guides, video clears, and things like that. For now, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.